You're welcome again to my channel. If you think this dress is gorgeous, it is beautiful, it looks great, you are very correct. Whatever adjectives you have to describe this dress is simply right. This is what we'll be making today. You are welcome to Sew Junkies, and for today's tutorial we'll be using 2 yards of brush mats. You can use crepe and then this print that I got for 4,000 naira at the market, and then we're just going to fold our fabric into 2. The back and front are going to be cut at the same time using our varied measurement. So you fold your fabric into 4, just fold your fabric into 4. That's all. Then the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be marking my shoulder point. Just adjust your fabric enough so that you can work with it. I'm going to mark out my shoulder line, and then I'm marking out neckline. The neckline I'm using is 3x1 for the back and 3x3 for the front. You can use 3x2.5 if you want that your collarbones to be a bit covered. There's going to be a slit on the neckline, but that's that. Then the next thing, I'm measuring from the shoulder. What I have there was 10 inches, so I went down by 2 inches, and then for the sleeve opening I'm using 9 inches. So I'm connecting that 2 inches to my neckline on a straight line. So from the shoulder line I'm just going to mark my waist line. So for this waistline we're using 15 inches plus ½ inch for seam allowance. At that top part we made it to 15 and half. Then for the bust measurement we divided bust by 4 and added 1 inch for allowance. Please, that 1 inch is not seam allowance. That 1 inch is just freeness. For freeness is a free dress, so that 1 inch is just the extra that will be added to the dress. The dress is not a body hug, so it's free, and that 1 inch is just going to give us that freeness. So the next thing I took was my length of dress, which was 38. Then I added 2 inches for hem allowance, making it all together 40 inches. So from that waistline I'm going to mark out my hip depth, where the hip bone is protruding, and then I put my hip measurement plus 1 inch freeness. Here at this point we've not added seam allowance, so whatever I have at that hip is what I'm putting at my hem. You see, there is no tapering off. It is just going to be my hip measurement that I'm putting at that hem. So I just connect the point like so. So once I'm done, I'm just going to mark out ½ inch. This is the ½ inch. This ½ inch is my seam allowance. This ½ inch is my seam allowance. I just marked it all over at each of the points, even to the sleeve area. That's all I did. And then the next thing, I'm going to measure waist to 7 inches. That's going to serve as my pocket bag. Then about 13 inches for the deepness. So just curve with your free hand like so. So this pocket bag is like a follow come, like there is no cutting it out. It's just part of the dress. It's like it came with the dress. It's not going to be sewed. It's just going to be, when we're sewing it, you see it. So if you've not done this before, please try and do it. It's really easy, and it makes your sewing faster and easier. So just cut the pocket bag along with the dress, and then cut out all your markings. Cut out all your markings. So please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, like, share, comment. It will really be nice. Then the next thing, I'm just cutting out the back. We'll cut out the back first, take out the inner one, and then cut out the neckline for the front. That's just how simple this dress is. So you can see what I'm just doing. I'm just cutting on my seam allowance. I'm cutting on that 1/2 inch seam allowance, and then I'm cutting out my pocket bag. So you can see what it looks like after the cut. You see the pocket bag is really, you see, you don't have to now start attaching pocket. The pocket is already attached with the dress. It is a cut along with the dress. If you haven't tried that before, try it out, especially with these kimono shoulder dresses where the sleeves are not detachable. You can also do the same for the pocket bag. Is a kind of a hack that I've been using for a while. So from the neckline, I marked out 4 inches or 5 inches. If you want more slit, you can go down, but 4 inches, 5 inches is just okay. So once I'm done with the cutting, I'm going to cut a facing for this particular dress. I'm cutting a facing for the neckline. If you've never cut a facing before, just watch. It is really not hard, and it is not that deep like they will say. So once you are done cutting it out, I just had to mark out the shoulder, and then I marked out 3 inches round the neckline. 3 inches around the neckline. You can use 4 inches, you can use 2 inches, you can use 1 inch. I used 3 inches around the neckline, and then from that point where that tear ended, I just took 4 inches down because I don't want my I don't want my facing to be flying about. Even though I'm going to be putting hem gum to keep it in place, I just want it a little bit longer than 3 inches, hence I used 4. So the next thing, I'm still going to cut out facing for the bag. It just makes your work easy. Really, facing, I really didn't start using facing on time, but using it, I really realized that I've been missing a lot using facing, especially on clothes that you didn't line. Another thing I used was bias. I still use bias. I like it sometimes for projects, especially if it is just a one round project. But if it's v-neck line, I use facing. If it is normal round neck, I just use bias. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put gum stay. I'm just going to put an interfacing to give it that stiffness. If you don't put an interfacing, that slit is going to be wobbling. At some point it will fall off. At some point it will not just be standing in place. But with facing, you see that even if you dance a willow in church, you go out and you do all sorts, the neckline is just going to be as it is. So you can use collar stay, you can use light gum stay, so whichever, just add an interface to your facing. That is correct. So please like, share, comment and subscribe. So once you are done applying your interfacing to your facing, just cut out the excesses. And then you take it, will be ready to take it over to the sewing machine. I didn't add an interfacing to the back. I didn't see any reason why I should, because it didn't have any work to be done at that back. But if you use that, you can tell us in the comment section why you had interfacing to the back facing. So we're going to go over to the sewing machine. If you haven't liked, subscribe, please like. So the first thing before going to the machine, the last thing I'm going to do on the table is to pin. You know, it's really important to pin. I can't emphasize this enough. It makes your work at the sewing machine a lot easier. But if you are one of those professionals that think, well, you don't really need pins, you have your hands, you can get on with it, but I advise that you do. And then I'll show you what we did. The first thing we did was to sew the round neckline part. That's, we're going to sew the round neckline. We're not going to touch on the slits. We're just going to sew the round neckline. By the time you are done sewing the round neckline, we're going to do a top stitching on it. I know we're going to use what's it called, we're going to use hem gum on the neckline, and you might think it's not necessary. It's really it's really, really important. It makes a difference in your sewing, that top stitching, that neckline. Some people can actually do the top stitching of that straight stitches too, but I didn't just bother because that round neckline part was the important one for me. Once you do the top stitching of the neckline, you can now flip it back and then do the sewing of that V. It's going to come out nice, and you're just going to see the difference in your work. So once you are done sewing, you snip it a bit, just notch round because it is a cuff point you need to notch, and then you separate the lining from the body of the cloth and just sew towards the lining side. Do a top stitch. I know you're smart ladies and gents right here on this channel. You know what top stitching is, but just in case you don't, it is when you are stitching on the outer part of your lining piece just to keep a particular place in check. That's what it means to top stitch. So I'm just going to top stitch on the lining part, so that even if you don't have lining, if you do top stitching a lot, you see that the neckline is just in place. So by the time you are done doing the top stitching on that neckline, you are now going to come back to finish up your neckline, to finish up the slitted part, and that will be all for that. So please, if you are here and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and share with your friends. We are now on TikTok, so junkies, please follow us and let us connect on TikTok. This has been a wonderful experience for me, and I hope to share more experience with you. So please, like I said, just sew down that neckline, sew down the neckline the way you would have done if you had not gone about sewing the round neckline part. As you can see, the neckline is now two, the rounded part and the slitted part. So we're done with the rounded part, we're just sewing the slitted part, and you are just going to use like 1/4 of an inch. You don't need to go and take in excess fabric. We didn't add seam allowance there, so you are just going to use your professional sense to know that you shouldn't use more than 1/4 of an inch to sew that slit down, so that by the time you flip, the opening on that neckline will not be too noticeable. It will not be too much. I've seen slits that before you even see the person, you are seeing the slit. It is because they took in too much to sew that slit. So we're done sewing this. Done sewing the slit. We're just going to just snip it to very close to the thread, so that it lays nice and flat without any skews or tangle. So you're going to take that facing to your weaving machine, and you're going to weave that part. By the time you're done, I was going to just sew it, but I changed my mind. I didn't want the sewing to be bulky in my front, thereby distorting my design. So I just took it to the sewing machine and weaved, and now I'm sewing the facing for the back, and I'm also going to do the top stitching for the back just like I did the front. And then I'll take both to this weaving machine. I'm going to weave the facings and then come back to the sewing machine and then sew it together at the shoulder. Am I blessing you so far? Yes, I am. I know you are enjoying this simple dress tutorial. I know you've seen it on your timeline, on Instagram, on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on Telegram channel, on TikTok, and you've been wondering if it's that easy. Yes, it is easy. Promise me you are going to try it out, because it is beginner friendly. It is super easy, beginner friendly dress that you can make and make and make. Even if you are a beginner, you can make one for yourself, make one for your mom. So I'm back from the table where I weaved it, and then I pressed it I pressed it. So what I'm going to do next is to sew. I'm going to do a French stitching for the shoulder. A French stitching we've shown you several times on our tutorial, but for the purpose of those here for the first time, the French seam is you're just going to join the shoulders wrong side to the wrong side, while the right side is facing you. The right side is the part I'm putting my hand, so we are sewing on the right side, and then we'll flip it to the wrong side and re-sew it. You see, I'm reducing the bulkiness of, so that by the time I sew it, that shoulder side will not need weaving. It is just going to be laying nicely inside your dress, no weaving and no rough edges. Yeah, right now what I'm doing is I'm sandwiching the rough edges inside the new seam I'm making now. That's what it means to create fresh seam. I think you've just learned another thing: French seam, top stitching. I wonder what you are going to learn next. Keep watching and you'll definitely learn something new. So I'm done with this shoulder. I'm also going to do the same thing with the other shoulder. So the next thing I'm going to do is I took it to the weaving machine. I weaved the sleeves, and then I folded 2 inches using hem gum to iron it down. You can see it's stiff. It is that hem gum. Don't worry if you haven't used hem gum before and this is your first time on this channel. I'm going to show you. I'm going to use the hem gum for the down for the hem of the dress. So you can see how I'm sewing the pocket, and I'm at the pocket area. You can see it's very easy. Okay, so far, tell the truth, has this dress not be easy? From the cutting even to the sewing, it is just straightforward. But if you have any praises to give to us, we'll be in the comment section to enjoy it. And if you have any questions or things that we can explain better, the comment section is the right place to be. Let us hear in the comment section. So you're just going to sew it straight down. Now we're done sewing both the left and the right side of the dress. I'm just showing you that I'm weaving it. You just weave it down. By the time you are weaving the 2 sides, you weave the hem, because the hem, we are going to use our hem gum on it. We are going to use our hem gum for the hem, so it needs to be woven. Even if you don't weave it, you can just sew it once, tiny bit, like using 1/4 of an inch to just sew it down. But I have a weaving machine, so I just weaved it once neatly, and then I'm taking it to the sewing machine. So if you've not used hem gum before, I'll show you. The first thing you do is to actually measure and iron down your allowance for this particular allowance. For this particular dress, the allowance I added was 2 inches. So please don't just go about adding your hem gum when you've not properly ironed it down first. Properly iron it down, iron the wrong side, and also try and flip it to iron the right side to be sure that where you are adding your hem gum, and then fold your hem gum into 2. You know, I don't want my hem gum to easily just rip out. So to rule out that opportunity, I'm just doubling my hem gum. I hear there are other hem gum that doesn't need to be doubled. It is thicker and it is better. I haven't gotten it yet. When I do, I will show you the difference. So I'm just ironing it down and ironing it down. It is so neat when you iron like this, when you properly fix your hem gum like this. It is so neat that you will be so happy with yourself. But if you just go about adding the hem gum without ironing it inward first, ironing your allowance inward first, then when you make mistake, you have to rip it out and start afresh. So the first thing is to iron your allowance down first, and then start imputing your hem gum further hem gum into it, folding into two, and then take it to the front and iron that. So now we are placing our DTF print. They have a lot of design. Usually it is faster to use a stoning machine, but I decided to use this iron. You can use it with iron too, you don't have any problem. But make sure when you are buying your print that you're sure that the print doesn't already have a dent, because if it has a dent, by the time you are putting it on the dress, it will actually show. So just iron and make sure it is hot. You are not just going to iron back and forth like you do your normal sewing. You are going to put your iron in one place, lift it up and put it in another place, lift it up and ensure the entire area is properly covered. That's all. It is very easy. It is not difficult. Even if you are not a fashion designer, you are not into sewing, you just want to add a print designed to your outfit, to your boring t-shirt, you can do this and you won't have a problem at all. It will be very easy. It didn't take up to 2-3 minutes for me to get this done. So as I'm taking it out, if I notice that there is a part of the print that is going with the nylon, I'll take it back and continue. I'll take it back to make sure. It means it wasn't hot enough. You just heat it up and add it to it. So at this point you can see the my shoulder, a part of the shoulder was missing, so I brought it back and I ironed it again. So by the time I was done ironing, this time nothing went with the nylon. So it is just as easy as that. If you've been wondering how it is done, this is how it is done, and you can wash it. It doesn't just get off. So in order to add some blings to my print, I just added some rhinestones. I just added it to strategic places. At first I was just going to add it to the edges, and then I remember I saw something on Instagram where they added blings to even the face. Though it felt odd, but I think it came out really well. So please, we have a whole lot of tutorials that you have not seen. Please see them and let us know how you, if you enjoyed them. Let us know in the comment section. This dress came out very well, and really you can make this for your husband, you can make it for your little child, you can make it for yourself, for your mother, and they will be well appreciated. And guess what, you can also, if you have more time, you can stone the entire dress. I believe me, it's going to be something you'll be very proud of. Thank you so much for being here with us today. You can see the glam on the face. It's really nice. Thank you so much for being with us today. Please watch our other videos. We'll see you soon next time. Bye.